Final thoughts on classic Doctor Who serial, The Moonbase. This particular serial demonstrates both the best and the worst of the Troughton era. On the good, we have this excellent demonstration of Monster of the Week / Base Under Siege formula. The atmosphere is palpable, the tension of the players, their anxieties are extremely well illustrated, and the imagery is superlative. Very good and effective direction from Maurice Barry, who later utilised his experience here to help realise one of the finest serials of all time in The Tomb of the Cybermen. On the negative side of the Moonbase, its pulpier kind of action orientation lends itself to certain moments wherein the plot needs to move forward rather than to educate the viewer about the world. And so we have the infamous incident wherein a coffee tray is used to board a breach in the exterior of the Moonbase. It's just sloppy. And considering this was written by Kit Pedler, who was a scientific advisor to the show, I don't know if he figured what's some goofy, silly pulp understanding of real science that I can utilize in this television show, rather than, he must have thought that, because that's kind of, that's slightly embarrassing, at least, if not. The real reason I enjoy this serial is simply the imagery. I'm a sucker for the Cybermen. I think they're even cooler than the Daleks. Their voices, their designs, I had a friend who once compared them to cave painting illustrations. I think it's just, they're such a cool and fascinating design at this point in history, particularly in the 1960s, both their original 10th Planet design and how they are throughout the rest of the black and white era. They lose something in colour a little bit, perhaps, you could argue. I might argue that. We'll see how I feel when we get to Revenge of the Cybermen 75 with Tom Baker, though obviously everyone loves Earthshock in 82, Peter Davison. That is a good one, to be perfectly fair. Good stuff. It's a difficult serial to just sit down and watch all of, just considering episode 1 is missing, and the reconstructions don't seem as effective this time around. I must say, I don't think the telesnaps are as communicative of the drama as they have been in other instances. I feel as though we have a solid and exciting episode 2 available to us. It's jarring that Free especially has no available cliffhanger, so there's these vague attempts to have shots of the Cybermen but we don't really know what they are yet, because we don't have sufficient exterior images. And then when the sequence begins and is essentially shown off for what it is at the start of the 4th episode, which is available, we realise that we had no idea what was actually going on at the end of episode 3, so we don't know what this supposedly great cliffhanger is actually going to be. Now we have an idea because of episode 4's availability, but still, it's just kind of unfortunate. Anyway, you just can't go wrong with the fine, pulpy moments where you're just watching this and kind of geeking out over simple imagery and frightening kind of dynamic moments of expressionistic intrigue. Watching it sped up, I think you may get an idea about when you just kind of shut yourself off and don't try to look for plot holes, and there's one that they successfully, effectively breach, plugged with a coffee tray. But in any case, in the sort of something to eat burritos to, this is amazing stuff. Put it like that. That's a way to put it, but that's what Doctor Who's really, really good for, Thanks again, my friends. Appreciate it immensely. Tune in next time as we look at the completely missing, Macro Terror. Hey, get a load of this cliffhanger. Isn't this genius? Yeah, this is what the Macro Terror is going to be. If only it was available, right? Yeah, if only. Thanks again, friends.